The Albinaurics have always been an interesting topic of conversation for those in the Elden Ring lore community. While the most overt story of them we can learn is that of Loretta and her journey to bring Philia the birthing droplet, this race of man-made people make appearances all throughout the lands between. There are the first-generation Albinaurics, whose men are frail and whose women wield bows and arrows on wolfback, and the second-generation Albinaurics, who retain the use of their legs at the cost of their human appearance. While the humanoid Albinaurics are confined to their hometown and Ordina liturgical town, they seem to somehow be tied to sorcery, as the men wield magic, and the Albinauric Rise contains the Graven Mass talisman. This leads us to a question. What if an Albinauric was made outside of their hometowns? What if an Albinauric was raised, never knowing their true nature, and assumed they were just like the other people around them? What if they dedicated their life to serving a lord or lady, only to find that their legs grew weary and nothing seemed to help? Today we're going to discuss the royal knight Loretta and try to weave together the story of how she left the Carian royal family to pursue freedom for her people. Before diving into the lore behind Loretta, we wanted to take a second to ask you to consider subscribing to our channel. At Square Table Gaming, we take a lot of pride in the community we've been able to build since starting our Elden Lore series. We absolutely love speaking with everyone in the comments and getting your thoughts on the various unconfirmed mysteries throughout Elden Ring. Whether you're a long-term fan or a first-time viewer, thank you for checking out our content. If you like what you hear, toss us a sub and click that bell so we can signal boost the channel and grow our community even more. If you really like what we're putting out, consider becoming a member and getting early access to Elden Lore every week. With that out of the way, let's get back to our story. Loretta was known as a royal knight and can first be encountered when we're making our way through the Carian Manor. While this version of Loretta is nothing more than an apparition, we can see she wields Carian magics. Various item descriptions help us understand why we face this spirit where we do. The Royal Knight armor tells us Loretta was once a royal Carian knight, and her lapis lazuli blue cape is the emblem of the knightly pride that continues to guide her. The magic she wields in this battle is a deep blue, the color of Carian sorceries. One of these spells is known as Loretta's Great Bow, and when we learn it ourselves, we learn that the bow was Loretta's favorite weapon. Loretta's war sickle is another weapon associated with the royal knight. The description tells us it is an intricately crafted silver war sickle wielded by Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree, originally given for service as a personal guard to Carian royalty. The weapon's blue glintstone has been replaced with unalloyed gold. With this information in mind, we can craft an idea of Loretta's life before replacing her glintstone with gold. It seems likely that Loretta was raised within the walls of Carian Manor, as the magic she wields relates directly to the royal family. According to their armor, the royal knights served as the personal guard of the royal family. This would put them a step above your typical Carian knight in rank. It's tough to say with certainty which member of the royal family Loretta guarded, but through process of elimination, we assume it was Ranni. If Loretta was in service to Rennala, we'd have probably faced her apparition somewhere outside of Renala's study, and if she served Radahn, she'd have been at our side during the Radahn festival, trying to bring dignity back to her former master. Since she still defends the way between us and Ranni's rise, we think it's safe to assume she was originally meant to be Ranni's protector. However, what would possess Loretta to trade her glintstone for gold, and leave nothing but an imitation of herself to defend her lady? We believe the truth of her inescapable fate as an Albinauric became apparent to her once her legs started to fade. All of the information we can learn about Loretta tells us about her close ties to the Albinauric people. Most of her armor tells us Loretta, once a royal Carian knight, went on a journey in search of a haven for the Albinaurics, and determined that the Haligtree was their best chance for eventual salvation. The spell Loretta's Mastery is a modified version of her original Carian magic, and tells us it was developed by Loretta after her long, bloody journey to seek out a place where the Albinaurics could live in peace. If her interest in saving the Albinaurics is not enough to convince you that she herself was one of them, we also have the description of the silver mirror shield. It is known as a shield of radiant silver, festooned with amber and carried by Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree. The shape is said to imitate that of a sacred drop of dew, which inspired the absurd rumor that Loretta herself was an Albinauric. While the shield treats the idea of Loretta being an Albinauric as nothing more than a rumor, when we take into account her interest in securing a future for these people, and the fact that we only ever see her on horseback, never using her legs, the rumor seems more and more likely. What if, once Loretta started to lose strength in her legs, she discovered that her life had been a lie, that she was an Albinauric, fated to fade away? Her lady Ronnie had decided to take a stance against the Fingers, slaying her own flesh and keeping her soul bound to a doll, and in doing so, may have inadvertently relieved Loretta of her vow to protect her member of the royal family. This would have left Loretta free to pursue salvation for her people, but her love for the Carians who raised her into the noble knight she now was, led her to leave a facsimile of herself, to defend what was left of Ronnie the Witch. In her travels, trying to find a place where the Albinaurics can live free of persecution, she found the Haligtree. Miquella's pursuit of a world where the downtrodden would no longer be persecuted in the lands between likely resonated with Loretta, and she became a knight of the Haligtree, trading her glintstone for gold after leading her people through Ordina liturgical town and to Miquella's base of operations. Perhaps Loretta is the reason for the Albinauric archers who defend the town. After all, Loretta's weapon of choice was a bow, and she's only ever seen on horseback. We believe she trained this elite squad of Albinauric women to destroy incoming threats to their potential home, and ride wolves to make up for their frailties. When we finally face Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree, in combat, she's an incredibly formidable foe. Her relentless attacks can easily get the best of you while you struggle to dodge your way through and close the gap. The full strength of this Albinauric knight is on display, and it is fearsome. Loretta is not fighting for her own selfish reasons. She is motivated to bring about a world where Miquella can return, fully grown, to rule over the lands between, and stop the persecution that forced her to hide the truth of what she was. Perhaps Miquella had the power to build a better world for the Albinaurics, both her first and second generation brothers and sisters, and if he did, Loretta would be there to defend her new charge. After all, a knight never truly loses their sense of duty, even if they did find themselves forced to switch masters. Loretta is a fierce warrior, and we wish there were more hard facts about her personal journey, from bodyguard of the royal family to defender of Miquella's dream. While it's never outright stated that she is an Albinauric, we believe there's substantial evidence to show us that she truly was among their ranks, even if she didn't know it herself at first. Her dedication to helping her people, those who lived under the oppression of the Golden Order, solidifies her as one of the most admirable bosses we face in Elden Ring. If only we didn't have to defeat her to move on and face Malenia. Thank you for joining us for our lore dive into Loretta, Royal Knight and Knight of the Haligtree. Do you believe Loretta was truly an Albinauric? Was the silver tier shield meant to hint at her true origins, or was it simply a rumor? Do you believe she traded her glintstone for gold in order to help others, or was she simply helping herself? No matter what your thoughts, please share them in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to be notified when we drop a new episode. If you're already a subscriber, why don't you double-click that bell just to make sure you continue to get notified about the new videos from STG. We look forward to seeing you again for more Elden Lore.